Well, I wasn't quite ready for this, so I'm glad there are a few people waiting. So I'm going to do a few introductions while we get set up, and then we're going to talk about this infrastructure plan. The first thing I want to say is that the video is not politically motivated. It doesn't matter to me what anybody thinks about Joe Biden or Donald Trump. So let's not make it about that. So the topic will be geared more about housing for those that need that. So public housing, Section 8, and so on. So we're clear about the content of the video. So if y'all give me 1 minute, we're going to take a look at a few different things that are going to be important for those of you that have been waiting for a while. I want to go over a few statistics with you guys that I pulled up, and I think that are important to mention. So as of Monday, they did 1.2 trillion, and I think this is what we have been waiting on. Had the pandemic not happened, we might have already had the universal housing voucher. For those of you that were curious about that, which would have allowed more people to get housing. Because right now, a lot of people that formerly were working, were middle class, that may have never considered the option of accepting public assistance. At this point, there are a lot of people that are. So, and of course, you still have a lot of seniors, disabled, and so on that really need the assistance at this point, even if it's just temporary. I think a lot of people are just needing this on a temporary basis. So, now, as far as the plan goes, the bill features 118 billion bailout for the Highway Fund Trust. We already know about that. Our highways around America are a bit rough in certain states, and so I do appreciate them doing that. They're also going to be addressing another 110 billion for roads, bridges, and major transportation projects. Another 66 billion for passenger rail. Another 16 billion from Amtrak. Sounds like a good deal for them, and then a few other railroads around the country that are probably have not been updated in probably 30 years. 11 billion for safety and national highway, and 39 billion for transit, including capital investment gains. Don't ask me what in the world that means. 25 billion for the airports that are probably just about out of business after this pandemic. 17.3 for the ports and waterways. I think we all know right now that Christmas is going to be a rough one. Shelves are empty, and I wouldn't say too empty, but there are a lot of products that are not making it on shore because of all the backups in Los Angeles, Chicago, New Orleans, and so on. They're looking at doing some zero emission stuff for school systems for 7.5 billion and a few others, and then 65 billion for broadband. Now I want to bring up this broadband because it's curious. Now, as most of you know, I'm going to start with the introductions of the channel and who I am and why we're making this video. So I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com. For those of you that are struggling with low income or are recently struggling because of the pandemic, you've been forced into low income, then that's what I assist people with, is being able to get vouchers, low income, housing, affordable housing, and so on. So that being said, broadband bill is very curious because it's going to allow you to get a $50 a month subsidy against your internet. Now, a lot of us pay for it, whether you got no money or a lot of money, you've got to pay for internet. And so once we find out what those rules are, I think that everybody, within reason, that make too little or just about enough, should look into getting part of that subsidy to assist with the internet bill. Why not? It's what it's offered for if you meet the applicable rules. Moving on. So what's very curious about the 1.2 trillion is going to be simply this. Now, do y'all know where this money's technically coming from? Let's rewind back to January when things were at their worst in this nation of this year. And so we were doing COVID relief funds, right? CARES Act, and all that money. And a lot of people never got any money for rent, for their mortgages. So that was helping people pay their mortgage when they had no job. Normal people that had rent were getting rent assistance. It had nothing to do with Section 8. Well, that was fumbled badly. They put too many rules, then it became political in every state, and they made it nearly impossible for anybody to get it. And so what happened out of all that money, billions, only 6.5%, rough number, actually made it out to help people pay rent. Everybody in the nation basically got nothing. We completely and utterly failed to issue most of the money. It sat around while Republicans and Democrats argued while they sat in their lofty homes, cashed their big checks, and have nothing to worry about. And they argued at the state level, the county level, to the point, and then they created a convoluted system where absolutely virtually nobody got rental assistance. I would imagine that those that probably worked in approving that stuff, all their friends, family, and political constituents probably got rental relief, but mere mortals, the rest of the nation, most people didn't get jack. So let's get straight back to what's surprising. So all that money they never gave anybody to help do a damn thing, that's what's paying for this. They're tapping the $205 billion in unspent COVID-19 relief aid. The aid that basically never went to anybody. So I'm wondering, will this be a repeat? Are we going to play this out again? We're going to make a new offer under this particular plan, infrastructure plan, and are we simply going to offer it but never give it to anybody? I'm strongly suspicious at this point of the mismanagement at every level in this nation when it comes to government funding. So, guys, when you work a job or you work all your life, you receive your Social Security payment at the end stages. You expect that when you pay those taxes, that they will be able to pay to assist you when you need it. But unfortunately, that has not happened. So I'm going to slow down here for a minute and just see about a few comments here. Now, for those who don't know, this is a live video. I think with the exception to phones, you probably can chat with me. There should be a chat window. And so I want to welcome Malone Davis, Mr. or Mrs., I don't know. Hey, Jalen, welcome back to the channel. Kayla, welcome. So it looks like we got 16 viewers. The holidays, I knew were going to suck. They always do when you get near Thanksgiving because everybody's got better things to do than watch my bobbing head talk about talk about money in the government. So I totally get that. So we got like 14, 15 viewers. So you know what? So anyways, that's the good news. So the other thing I want to address right now is simply this. They're putting billions in, and the second part of this deal is going to be this. Let's see if I can pull up for you. So they're earmarking $40 billion for public housing. All right. So we've let houses deteriorate around the country. So this is going to help with that. Also with the vouchers and so on to fund that a little bit better. I think they're putting in $60 billion. So these are improvements, and I've got to tell you, and also they're going to try to unrig some of the zoning laws. We have very racially motivated zoning laws when it comes to this type of thing. So I think that should help with that if we get people to act in an appropriate way. So here's my opinion, okay? Because I'm not an expert when it comes to government funds. I do believe starting January, as you know, most federal, state, and county organizations, they run out of money. And I know that starting January 1st, we get a refresh of all those federal funds, because at the end of the year, like most businesses, whether it's the city or the government or just a normal business, most people are trying to burn what few dollars are left, for tax purposes. And then when the first shows up, that's usually when all these organizations are flush with cash. For those of you out there seeking affordable housing, low-income housing, Section 8 vouchers, and so on, this is good news because, one, starting in January, I think the opportunity to get these things are going to be a lot better. Two, it's that time of season when a lot of people are preferably not looking for places, not looking to utilize vouchers, not looking to move, and other things. So a lot of my clients have been telling, look, we're doing casework right now to help clients get through this process so they don't end up on the streets and homeless shelters, living with grandma and other things. And I think the real anticipation is that a lot of this is going to get a lot easier for next January. Also, we're walking out of the pandemic, essentially, which means we're starting to see the economy start to recover the way that it needs to. So I think that 2022 is going to be an amazing year for everybody, whether you're only receiving $400 Social Security payment or not. I think it's going to be an amazing year because we're going to start to see the nation refresh itself. We certainly have the funds out there. I also think that we're probably at a point where there's not going to be much more stimulation of cash going around the country past the first, because we've already spent a tremendous amount on this nation. Some has worked, some of it's been a complete waste of time. So that being said, I think I've said what I need to say, and then we'll move on to one more thing. I'm going to address some more comments, and then I'm going to talk to you all about some specific things in regards to me, this channel, and the direction it's going to be going for 2022, okay? So I'd like to say hello to Monette Jenkins. And those again that don't know this, this is a live video. You can chat with me in the chat window if your device allows you to do so. Kayla says, I didn't even get your notification, just popped up. By the way, guys, YouTube is terrible. So that you know that people make billions of videos every second. And the thing is, when they send out notifications, it can be days later. And I find that they only send out notifications to my 13,000 subscribers. Only about 15 to 20% actually get a notification. The rest get it a few days later, and some never get it. So that's strictly a YouTube thing. And I think what they do is they don't send it to everybody to avoid annoying y'all. I've got over 200 videos, so y'all know I make a lot of videos. And I would imagine that if you didn't want to see one of my videos every other day, that's YouTube saying, hey, we're only going to show a certain segment of people that are subscribed to you each week, something into that regards. So going back to the questions here, I want to answer for people that are chatting with me. Denise Gardner, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you. So Denise also says, is there any help for me in disability Section 8 in Delaware? Okay. Well, Delaware, like any state, as you mentioned, they have housing choice vouchers, low income and affordable housing. Yes, Denise, there's help. But, the thing is, we need to know more about you, your case, the problems that you're having. Some things matter more than others. People that are, older, 55 plus, 62 plus, that are disabled and other issues, in principle, help you along that system. Now, is Delaware a state that I consider to be having a housing crisis where it's serious and you're going to be struggling to find housing or even get a voucher or something to that nature? No, I don't think Delaware is the epicenter of problems right now. So I think that you have a reasonable chance there. I think that the process in itself right now through the holidays is going to be difficult. But the thing I want to warn you about, guys, if you want to take advantage of January, fresh federal funds, everybody's happy and bubbly and the cash is really flowing, you better start now, because a lot of this stuff is not done within a day or two. A lot of cases that I deal with last weeks, before we're able to come to an app solution, get you what you need. And so I've been telling a lot of people, look, start now. We kind of waddle through the through the holidays, and then around January, I expect a lot to be able to close out a lot of cases. Right now, I have 68 cases. Some are more meticulous than others. Back to questions here again. I'm gonna take a sip of drink because I've been talking for 30 minutes straight almost. It seems like. Have a little energy drink, keep me going. All right. It looks like Jalen asked a question. How does a person get emergency voucher for DV? Look, guys, if you don't know what DV means, that is a acronym for domestic violence. A lot of people experience that at different levels. It doesn't mean you've received a beating or a stabbing. It just means that, there's some type of abuse going on to a certain degree. Okay. So if y'all wondering. Okay, so they want to know how to get DV to relocate to another state is the first part. And should I apply for housing authority through EHV or apply through another program? Okay, so there's many different questions built into that from Jalen. So DV will restrict you to two types of vouchers, I believe. First, you approach it from the housing authority side. If you're giving the right answers on the application for DV, then they would likely give you a housing choice voucher with VAWA, which is domestic against violence. I always mess that one up. Domestic, let's just call it VAWA right now. Y'all can look it up. Y'all are not stupid. So the secondary option is through COC. They also have DV housing as well. And it's not so much the housing is a voucher, and it comes in the form of PSH, which is permanent supportive housing, which is also very much like Section 811. In addition to that, if your DV case was filed with the district attorney's office or any county office run by the county, the states, or the feds, then they have an opportunity to put you through DV. And not only through DV housing or voucher, they could potentially, only the COC side, the other organization, can issue a emergency housing voucher, which is the EHV. Used to the housing authority and the continuum of care both did it, and then they restricted that about a week and a half ago. So now it's only COC. Now they are not the only ones, to be technical. As a technicality, you could get an emergency housing voucher as a recommendation from the district attorney's office or any county office I had suggested, which means you're receiving an official referral, and those official referrals, 99% of the time when you're referred, There is no other question to it. You usually get the voucher or the housing. However, I must warn you with that. Whew, man, I'm going along good today, aren't I? I think I've had 2 pots of coffee. All right, so let me collect my thoughts here. Because we're talking about so many different things. I know if I'm struggling to keep up, you guys have got to be struggling a little bit. This is that 20 years all packed into one head, and I'm trying to kick it out in a 30-minute video. It's impossible. So let's get back to the EHV part. So besides the referrals, 99% of the time, if a housing authority or county employees, if the person referring is a county employee through a different part of the county itself, then it's accepted and done. And it doesn't matter whether or not that waiting list has been closed for decades. It doesn't matter if the waiting list is open but has 90,000 people on it. A referral supersedes. Okay. Also, there's one other opportunity through the housing authority. It's not specifically emergency housing voucher, but it's very similar, and it's called a special use voucher. Y'all know virtually nothing about it because I've made very, very few videos, and Google knows nothing about it. So, how do you find out about that stuff? Well, you read through Title 24 and the PHI guide, and those you can get as manuals from Nana McKay and other organizations like that. This week I've been asked about getting housing authority manuals. These are the manuals they train their people with. A lot of you guys think that I can just give you that, okay? Look, it took a lot of federal requests to get that. It is not a toy that can be passed around or emailed. These are very large manuals. This is what they train the housing people at the housing authority with. I'm not going to just hand those out because in the wrong hands, you can manipulate the system there very easily, likely get a voucher very quickly. How do you think I'm so good at my job? All right, so let's go back to questions because they're starting to pile up, and looks like it's going to be a question video. So I think that I did address some of that, Jalen. I know I could go on for days with that, so I'd rather not. So I think we stick with where we are with that, Jalen. Nora, hello, and welcome to the channel. CF, welcome back, man. Well, that's a shame. You are a resource to the poor. I've always been a resource. You know, for those of you that have not been around this channel very long, I survived 14, almost 15 years without charging anybody a single nickel to do what I did. You're talking about over 1,000 hours of my time personally. Didn't charge anybody anything. It was only until the pandemic got here and I became overwhelmed with the number of people that needed help that I had to make an ethical decision. Do I work myself till I have to move under a bridge or do I charge people? Okay. It's a simple choice. I can no longer work for free. Many of you have been around a very long time. Some of you have been on my channel for years, and y'all seen my prices gradually change. Look, anytime you can consult for $45 or even a few hundred with a very close guarantee of getting a voucher or housing, that's the smallest fee you'll ever pay in your life to secure your housing, which is the number one thing that human beings need. It's a very serious issue, not something to be toyed with. Where you live is a major, major issue. The only thing second to that would be your health and owning a car. So you have to take the responsibility serious, and so should the people that advise you on that. All right, so let's get back to the questions. Brittany Madero, hey Jay, how are you doing? How's the new car? Oh, guys, so y'all want to hear about the new car? Yep, I went through the tear with the luxury car, and I had more dealerships lie to me than the day is long, and unfortunately, most of you know that my channel is filled with profanities because I tend to be more realistic about the things that I address in my videos. I don't do makeup and hair. I get straight to it, and I don't pull any punches in the types of videos I make. So let me just say this. After that debacle with looking at hoopties, and that's what I call them, hoopties, brand new Cadillacs that have been worn out, sent to the auction house and have dents on every end of it and smell like somebody has taken a doo-doo in it. That was the shit show that I dealt with in Houston for 2 weekends, trying to sell me trash, a Cadillac and 4 donuts. Look, I left more dealers standing there looking at the sky and walked the fuck off. I'm not dealing with that kind of shit. So I just switched gears. I ended up buying a new SUV, and I believe that's appropriate, considering that I'm going to be moving to Arkansas with me and those 22 cats. Y'all been around long, and those of you that are new, you'd be shocked. I have a lot of cats, 22. They all are my little stars. A lot of them appear in the video, so it is what it is. So that's over with. The car's good. It's pristine condition. It's got 1 cigarette burn in it. I'm fine with that. Other than that, It's good. The car's great. I'm happy with it. All right, so let's get back to the comments and questions here. Monette Jenkins, you rock, Jay, wondering if housing is open in Houston and will accept a new voucher. I believe the absorbing. So, guys, to help everybody understand where this is going, I want to talk a little bit about portability. That way, you'll understand the context of this person's question they're asking me. Housing authorities. So, if you already have a voucher, there are two options when you leave a state or you move to another county. They can either absorb the voucher, which means you're living in New York and you're going to move to Florida. When you leave New York, Florida says, hey, we don't want New York's voucher. We'll just simply issue you a voucher. Okay. That's called they're absorbing it. You relinquish New York and you now pick up Florida. The other is billing, where you arrive, when you drive away from New York and you head to Florida and they say, all right, we don't have any more money to spend to give you a voucher, but we will send the bill. This is what they call it billing. We will send the bill to New York for now and let New York pay for you to be here in New York. We'll pay it that way. So to answer that question about the city of Houston, no, there's nothing to get so far for Harris County, but Texas is a bit unusual state. One, cost of living, jobs are real high here. So in other words, the cost of living is fairly low here. And we have several major cities. I mean, you got Houston, Dallas, Austin. So we got like four major cities packed into one state. I think that getting housing in the state of Texas is still really good. I think if you avoid probably Harris County, Houston, because it's already closed, that makes sense. It's closed, you're not going to get nothing. But there's plenty of surrounding counties, Conroe and all that still have open lists. Look, I know this city because I live in it, and I understand the system. I actually know the people that run the housing authority. There are some good and bad elements. It is what it is. So I think that the state of Texas is still good. One day it will be a lot like California. It is what it is. Hell, Florida is on its way to playing out to be another California with too many people and not enough resources. But Texas is not there yet. So I think there's opportunities here to answer your question. Jackie, how are you today? Just wondering if credit rating matters. Credit. Well, I think there's a presumption with affordable housing, low-income housing. I think there's a presumption that most people that are attempting to get housing, whether it's a voucher, low income, and so on, that you probably don't have the greatest score. But I've got a lot of clients that are next to broke, don't have a lot of money, I guess, and they have killer credit scores. So what matters and what doesn't? I would say on a level that you probably need to. It plays about a 20% factor in the deal. I think most landlords know that people are going to likely have evictions and probably not the greater credit. So I don't think it's a deal killer, because you're not a market rate tenant. First, you're backed 70% by the United States government with a voucher or subsidy. So the risk is only 30%. And a lot of that 30%, a lot of you, in addition to receiving 70% aid from the government, also receive Social Security, which by virtue is another government check in its own right. And so you're not risky enough for them to really to consider credit as a major factor. Now, if you go out there and you want to live up there in one of those buildings where they just built it and they got chandeliers and a $1 million pool, yeah, they're going to be shitty and want only the best credit scores. But I think that you can find moderate places pretty reasonably. But make no mistake, as I always tell all of my clients when I do casework for them, or not, that just because these things are out there doesn't mean you're going to get it tomorrow. If you had a job and you received a check and you're living life and you've got a 700 credit score, you go to a complex and the process is simple and straightforward. When you deal with Section 8, vouchers, and low-income housing, it's a convoluted process that goes on for weeks a lot of times, okay? So you have to be able to endure that adversity, the pain in the ass part of it, and the amount of time that it takes to do it. So if you're willing to go through that, then yeah, you produce results. You get what you need, as long as it's not a terrible city that's overpopulated and has a phenomenal homeless population. And I don't think Houston is known for that. It has got a big one, but it's not as bad as LA and Orange. All right, I'll take another swig, man. More questions to answer. So Nora says Nora says that she's in Michigan. She's disabled. She's a senior. Just received a package of paperwork after 5 months from the housing department. Jesus, 5 months. How long does it take to receive a voucher? Well, let's presume you've already applied. Let's presume they verified the information that you've given and they're prepared to issue a voucher. Now, if they give you notification to verify your bank statements and all that, you're probably within 30 to 60 days of them publishing that voucher, whether it's digitally or they have a paper copy. I don't think housing authorities give out a paper copy anymore, but so you're probably within 30 to 60 days if they verified everything. Now, if you're telling me you just fill out an application and you're waiting to find out just when they're going to give it to you, I couldn't possibly tell you that because I'm not working on your case, and I'm pretty sure if you did that yourself, it's probably you could wait forever depending on your answers. I don't truly know the context of your case other than that you're old, that you're a senior, so I want to caution you guys: you can't just have a magical idea of this stuff. If you just applied, you could be in there with a lot of people. That's why I work with people because I look at the specific things that are required to make you more preferential to get the voucher than other people. There's lots of ways to fail with this. Trust me. I've had 20 years of practice with this. I don't bullshit with it. I often look when I deal with my clients, we go off 5, 10, 20 different counties. I don't play with it. I mean, it's like bingo. I'm going after half the state and we're looking to get offers. We're not going to sit there, drink coffee, and wait 15 years for them to ring your telephone. See, that's what a lot of you guys are doing, is doing it yourself stuff. You don't even know what you're playing with. And the thing about it is, these people are going to call you for years or decades, All right, so let's get back to these questions. Brittany Madera says Violence Against Women Act. Thank you. Yeah, because I had a moment there when my brain wasn't working. So yes, VAWA is Violence Against Women Act. I appreciate you saying that. Tara Boo, I like that name. Anytime you got Boo in the name, I like it. So as y'all know, I love interesting names and acronyms for YouTube channels. So all right, Tara Boo, I have been in a Section 8 list for years, and I'm disabled. Well, Tara, one thing, if you've been, I don't know how many years you're actually saying, but if you've been in there a significant amount of time, you might want to actually consider new options, okay? So you don't spend a lifetime. It really depends on what you want to do, but I think that if you reach a 5-year mark, then you probably have said a lot of things on the application that simply do not make you a preference, and you're probably going farther down the list than you're going up it. That's why a lot of housing authorities no longer give numbers, because I think most people would be stunned to learn that you actually go down farther down the list the longer you're on it. Why? Because more people enter the list that have higher preferences, thus pushing down less important people. And you continue to fall till you almost go to nowhere. That's how I have clients that waited 17 years before they called me to work on their case, because they completely messed it up. Number two, they never recertified their answers. So the housing authority and its algorithm in consideration to the case file only sees you at who you were 17 years ago. You've never bothered to tell them, oh, by the way, back then I was healthy, now I'm blind. So you guys don't even give new answers. You're writing on the same old application, decades old. And so the consideration was nothing then. Some of you actually turned into seniors waiting. And you'll never update Jack about that. And I don't mean the recertification where it says, oh, by the way, do you still want a voucher? Please sign and mail back. You guys have got to really go back and recertify those answers. Otherwise, they're still viewing you as this young and healthy 30-year-old that doesn't have back problems, that's not 62 and other things. There's a lot of things you guys are not doing, man. That end up making you wait forever. All right, Tony Z. Let's see. Oh, Brittany Madera, Tarambu, Jalen. Yes, you did. Thank you, Jay. Tony Z. It's tough to find a place that allows cats. God, I know, but you know what? I got 22 of these bad boys, and I got to tell you, you got to do what you got to do, because I sure as the hell ain't putting my cat on the street. So just tell the cat to purr quietly. Sometimes we have to just ask God for forgiveness because we have to do bad shit, like put the cat in the house. I don't want to see you guys kicking your pets out. Look, those living, breathing creatures, they love you. You've spent your time, your care, and your efforts to love those animals. They're not going to understand when you get kicked out and there's no water, no food, and you just vanish. So look, keep looking, man. You need help with that, let me know. Monette Jenkins, looks like they took down part of your comment. You must have said something naughty, Monette Jenkins, or YouTube is having a moment. But your oh, it just came through. Oh, okay. So you were offering some information. You were offering some assistance to another person. So let's see if I can. There we go. All right. So, anyways, and you know what? Monette Jenkins did do something very interesting in the comments section. I want to say this. That's a clever move because most of you don't realize this, but to get an emotional support pet's not that hard. And one thing that HUD got sued for was not allowing cats or pets. I don't give a damn what the policy of the landlord is. Federal law supersedes that. And if the animal, convince your doctor that maybe your screws aren't just quite tight enough, or that you're having other issues, it may not even be mental. If you can get it designated that way, that landlord cannot tell you anything, cannot deny it. If they do it, you've got the 2008 Disability ADA Act, also about 3 other federal laws, and then they're caught and busted. They got to allow the cats. So now, the reason I'm excited Monette brought that up is because that's a lot of what I do. I shoot holes into the regulations and codes that a lot of things that are so troublesome. In other words, I'm always finding ways to exploit housing authority policy within the limits of the law, just like a good attorney. But I'm not an attorney. That's the thing. If you're going to play the game to win the voucher, sometimes we have to be slightly shady, but we don't want to lie. We don't want to break the law. It just means if we know what's required, if you're not blind on Monday, you damn well better be by Tuesday when you apply. You see my point? Match the plot in the course of what they want, become the picture of the type of person they want. And I can assure you, as this day long, if that's what they're looking to give a voucher out for, if that's the reason why they would want you in the property, then you'll get it. Okay, that's what I spent 22 years doing, is exploiting and looking for loopholes. God rest my soul. I'll enjoy helping people get what they need. So, moving back, Mr. and Mrs. Chauvin says hello and welcome to the channel. I couldn't say the first name. I apologize. Air knowledge. Does this seem like I'm going in the right direction? So I see part of the question, air knowledge, but I don't see the first question. So I can't answer that one because I don't understand the context. Air knowledge also says, I'm just so frustrated. Oh, I get that, man. Look, anytime you're dealing with low income housing, affordable housing, housing authorities, HUD, and all that, look, it's supposed to be frustrating. In fact, because the process is so convoluted that on average, we expect around 73% of most people just to give up on principle. In other words, they're already at their wits' end. They just can't handle the extra burden and the stress and then trying to figure it all out. I think that's why a lot of people hire me. I'm not suggesting anybody needs to hire me to do anything. I'm only suggesting that, yes, this is a system where you have to deal with a lot of adversity. It is tough. It's difficult. And often the people that you have to deal with at housing authorities and these other properties to get what you need, they're condescending, they're rude, they're discouraging. And so it's hard. And I know that a lot of my clients also suffer from a lot of mental issues across a broad spectrum. And it's sometimes hard to deal with. So, that's the thing, because a lot of you are trying to do this alone. You're trying to do it alone, and you're hoping that you have enough energy. You're hoping that you have enough strength, to get through this. We've already been through a lot as a nation, and so you're trying to do even more. So I get that. But anyways, let's move down. And let's see, Nora, thank you. I just sent all the required paperwork and verification. I was on the waiting list for 5 months. I appreciate your information, and knowledge is power. I appreciate that, Nora. So, by the way, the speech I always give in these videos is anytime somebody thanks me, I always appreciate that. Think about this, guys. 7 years on YouTube, over 200 videos. Not a single one of time do I ever jumped on this channel and said, hey, by the way, I'm an expert at fidget spinners. Then on the next week, I'm going to be the expert of baking cakes. Look, I make videos about what I know. I've successfully dealt with thousands of people. When you take advice from people on YouTube, and 1 week they're an expert at Nikes, and then you see my point. That's called bullshit. Okay, there's no 3 steps to getting a voucher or low income housing. Anybody selling that bullshit by a book or in a video, and that's most of the videos I see on YouTube. These people have never done any research. They've never read Title 24. They certainly could not compel a housing authority to give over their manuals. That's laughable. It's a joke, and they're looking to earn a wooden nickel for every ad you click. I could give a shit if you guys ever click an ad in my videos, but thing is, be careful where you get your advice. All right, so moving on now. Tanya Larkin gave me a clapping hands. Thank you. Tony Z, I will. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you saying that. All the thanks back to you. By the way, guys, happy Thanksgiving for those that believe in that. Now, I was going to let y'all know I made a post in the channel about this. Do not call me at the dinner table on Thanksgiving Day. Now, you know some lunatic's going to do it. It's going to be Mary Lou out of Missouri or something like that. Hello, can I get a voucher? If you make me curse over that turkey, I'm going to be very, very upset. Okay? Because I got people that try to call me 2, 3 in the morning. Look, don't call me from the bar. I know you've had about 10 whiskeys and now you're feeling yourself. Don't call me for consults at 3 in the morning, guys. Sometimes y'all text me crazy shit, you know? So look, I love helping people, but I don't love you that much. So some of you get out there and you're having a good time and maybe you want to talk, but that's not the right way to do business. Okay, guys? And lately I've been getting a lot of that strangeness with consults. And so, yeah, I've got to get control. All right, moving on. Jasmine Victoria. Hey, Jay. Hey, glad to have you back in. Jazzy has been Jasmine Victoria has been a member of our channel a very long time. So we're always glad to have her. Sally Patterson. I missed it, I think. But if you go to the place that doesn't accept vouchers, maybe I could go that way around it. Well, Miss Patterson, I'm not quite sure the way you phrase that question. There's always a way. Trust me. I'm always trying to do the impossible. That's the one thing as a consultant I do. One of the, when you think about what I do, it's not about understanding the textbook version of what we're doing to get people help. We're simply trying to navigate a system that's very old. It's a 70-year-old program since the 1970s. So 50 years old or more is what this program is. Every president changes that rule. And then it's reinforced by a bunch of people that work at housing authorities that hate their job. And they, in principle, sometimes even hate you calling or emailing or even asking them a question. It's a tough system. So I do understand that. But yeah, finding a way in an impossible situation is what I've made a career of. And for some reason, I guess I'm especially good at it. And I don't mind a lot of rejection because when I work on cases for you guys, look, they're just as shady and talk as just as much shit to me as they would you. There's no exception to the rule. The difference is I've learned to exclude, not hear all those things, and just stick straight to the point. That's the thing with housing authorities, vouchers, and low-income housing. You have to compel them under federal law. And sometimes when they're not doing the right thing, it's called baiting and trapping. Once I get them to violate one portion or a segment of a title or a federal code, then I have their ass locked in. At that point, they can either go under review for arbitration, HUD, possibly get sued, and many other things. So there are lots of clever games to be played. Thing about it is, I quite enjoy what I do. This is not a job where I clock in. Me winning against a housing authority for the client, that's the best high on the planet. So I actually enthusiastically enjoy what I do. Winning. All right, let's move back down. So more questions. Monique Jenkins says, absolutely, Jay. Air Knowledge says, I got on a waiting list on another state. I have a disability and my providers aren't helping. Well, that's no surprise. When you put a nickel in the phone, you get a nickel's worth of time. Most people working in housing, they're uninterested in helping. They figure, look, you either know how to get through it or good luck to you. So same thing I've always mentioned. If you were in your car driving down the highway and you get pulled over, cop beats you up, then what's your natural inclination? I'm going to report him. So you drive to the police station and lo and behold, guess who the desk sergeant is? The very man that beat you up. And then what do you say to that person when you call them, when you're there? They're like the housing authority. Excuse me, can you tell me how I can get you fired? Could you tell me all the rules where I can screw you and get you completely terminated from your job? You guys run to the same people for help that aren't interested in fucking helping you at all. That's what blows my mind. You see, that's the difference between hiring me and then dealing with housing authorities. They're not interested. You're asking the very same people that can't stand you or their job, that only want to give you a minute at a time, and they don't really want to hear from you again. And so y'all begging the same people. You think these people are going to teach you how to get what you need? Hell no. They never have and never will. There's no classes, no pamphlets for this. They're not going to walk you through it, hold your hand. It's good luck. Only the brave survive. The very nature that I exist to do this for you guys is a miracle in itself. There's only a handful of me in the nation. And most of them have quit because most of them can't handle the mental balance of it. Look, I deal with people that have a lot of mental issues that struggle even through a console. So, and then of course, you can imagine what it's like talking with people that have just got out of an ER because they've been attacked by a partner. It's a domestic case, and I can't sleep at night. Or I've got a senior that's rotting away in a homeless shelter with the possibility of death. So there's an emotional toll for me as well. This is not an easy job, and that's why many people just don't want to do it because they prefer guaranteed results. So realistic expectations is important with this, but also having the right person in your corner that understands the game better than the people that designed it. Okay. If you're unable to operate at that level, then you're not going to be able to do anything for your clients. Same thing for me and my clients. It's a game of time and getting it done. All right. So moving back down here, Tony Z, not sure if this 1 year restraining order will stop me from finding a place. No, restraining orders are only effective and as a matter of record for the situation there because restraining orders are not a conviction. Okay. So it's only detectable and only present in the case where you currently are. If you're going somewhere else, then that's not a big issue. However you conducted yourself to cause that restraining order, if there's other criminal proceedings against you or a conviction, that could play out to be a bit of a problem. Housing authorities all have different rules about criminal records and stuff like that, as y'all know. If you are in a national registry for sexual issues, that is a no-go. Outside of that, I think you'd have to be a convicted meth dealer or something to that effect, or some places won't take that. But everything else, I mean, I helped a fellow that got out of federal prison, okay, straight off the bus from a federal prison after doing 15 years. We had his voucher in about 30 days, okay? So a lot of you build it up in your mind. I've got this problem. I got that problem. I got court problems. I can't, nobody's ever going to leave my house. That's not true. The problem you have is you don't know the right people to get the stuff for you. And you're going down the housing authority and you're trying to tell them all the bad shit you've done. Look, you don't need to apprise them about a damn thing about yourself. Applications don't require you to disclose whether or not you have a restraining order against you, okay? Sally Patterson goes on to say, thank you. You are so RT. It's just a lot of frustrating. I was thinking of getting backdoor. Now, y'all hear that, Cat? Now, I knew this was going to happen in this video. So, a big part of the personality in my channel is kitty cats. All right, so I don't have dogs for obvious reasons. I wouldn't mix with all these cats. So here's little Papa's. He wants to say hello. It's also treat time, and he'll stop the video for that. So I wanted y'all to meet him. If y'all watch enough of my videos, you'll see one cat at a time, pretty much. And unfortunately, I don't have treats near enough by, so he might do more wailing. All right, I'm gonna get back to the questions, guys, for those of you that are asking. So yes, it's frustration, guys. But look, let me tell you something, guys. The more that you can survive, I keep saying the word adversity because the reason I say that is the more pain you accept through this, the closer we are to getting it done. So it's never a question of really could we get you a voucher? Are you willing to move far enough to get it? Or are you going to be able to just not tell yourself, well, fuck it, I'm done with this? So that's the thing. There's a certain point where you reach when you've taken enough pain, and over the experience of 20 years to see these cases play out, very rarely does it have to end with you getting nothing. It's just a matter of can you stick with it long enough? Can you deal with a lot of rejection? Can you deal with the attitudes and the culture of the housing authority and the meticulous crap you have to go through? I believe if you could, and you're working with somebody like me, odds are very high. It's the thing is, can I get y'all past the 30-day mark? We all have a McDonald's and Amazon personality. We want this shit fast. I don't understand. Well, look, this is you're not applying for a real apartment complex with a paying job. That's the deal. So when you take on assistance, what they're hoping by virtue is that you're willing to just simply give up. Doesn't it work? If they make it painful enough, we can get rid of half the people. It works very well because most of you are ready to give up. But that's because a lot of you are doing what most people do as grown people. You go this shit alone. You don't want to ask anybody for help, and then you're ashamed. In some degree, some of you are just ashamed. Look, you don't need to be ashamed about this at all. Everybody needs help sometime, in some way or some form. Look, when your air conditioner breaks down, don't you call the AC man? Okay, unless you guys really have time to watch 200 videos, if you really want to read 13,000 pages of legislation, if y'all would like to sit there and do consults with hundreds, if not thousands of people, so you can figure it out to the degree that I understand this, then you have to do what you need to do to get through this quicker. Okay, because a lot of you just spinning your wheels, you're burning away your life, hoping and wishing for something you don't truly even understand. Let me give you a good example today. I just got a email from an attorney in San Francisco through its federal court. They want me to go in and be a witness and as an expert testimony. The expert testimony is for me to explain to the judge and to its jury what it would be like to be highly discriminated against in a property. That I'm supposed to help illuminate those jurors to the fact that this system is extremely painful to deal with, and that I have enough experience of seeing it through all of my clients to show that jury that it is completely ridiculous. Okay? Something that we already know, that we already presume and know, is what I would have to explain as an expert witness. I'll be speaking to that particular attorney, I think, next Tuesday. I can't disclose any other details because that's a legal thing. But, anyways, moving on. So I see everybody's talking about kitty cats. So I'm glad y'all enjoy that. Maybe Big Pops will show up here in a minute. He's a big one. Boy, he's getting really in a toot about not getting those treats. He's already going in the bedroom and he's moaning. Look, don't ever make the mistake I made, and that's with giving out treats every time they cry, because what it does is this. When they don't get them, it is hell. He gets bipolar. When we run out of treats and we got to wait on the Amazon man, I've never seen a cat that can hear. It knows when the Amazon man's coming up the thing because he's waiting for the treats. So I created a little monster. I know. All right, guys. So I appreciate everybody joining me. I see there's about 43 people. I think this is the largest crowd we've had in a while. I've enjoyed talking with y'all immensely. Again, this video is not intended to be political. I don't care if it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump. The thing is, we're looking forward to those funds for the first of the year. I think that anybody at presence of mind should truly consider starting their case now, because you don't want to arrive on January 1st when all this rush money gets there and then you're just starting. That's ridiculous. We're in the right season. Now, it's going to be tough from November as we stand now next to Thanksgiving. It's going to be tough through that in December, because what do county employees do? They want to go on vacation. So casework's very slow right now. Can't get a response from a lot of these people. But as we build cases and I work with clients, we'll be well armed by January, because the minute we ring in the new year, I can assure you, just like last year, it went nuts. Man, I was out there. Let me tell you, I'm like a thief in the night. I'm looking to break in every housing authority and get what we need to get, because I know when things are hot. The worst mistake you could do is sit on your hands and wait till this summer, when soccer mom with her litter of children, and I'm not being offensive or rude to anybody, but every soccer mom out on the planet is going to want to do all the same shit this summer. Everybody wants to move in the summer. Don't make that fatal mistake if you're dealing with low-income housing. Do it when it's cold, the winter, and when nobody else wants to do it, and it'll go well. You'd be smart to take my advice about this, because if you guys start calling me in July crying about, well, I don't understand why I can't get a damn thing, well, that's why. Because everybody has that ant mentality. Let's all do it when it's lovely outside and the sun is bright. Look, do it when there's a 2 foot of snow if you live up north, or do it when it's miserable and hot, because I'm in Texas, so Christmas Day is about 100. Do it when it's smart to do it, and this will work well for you. Otherwise, you'll be in the line with everybody else in shorts and flip-flops, sweating their guts out, trying to get some bullshit that's already been given out months earlier. So I'm warning y'all, like I did last year, do the stuff during the winter time when nobody prefers to do it. It'll go well. If anybody else has any further questions, I'm agreeable at this point to address them. Also, if I get permission from that attorney in San Francisco in federal court to disclose some minor details, I will. I've worked with lots of attorneys. I've never been asked to be a witness, expert witness, and so I'm waiting to find out how that's going to play out when I talk to this particular attorney there. So I guess I'll be flying to San Francisco soon to do that. Normally, when I fly around the country, it's to deal with big landlords with 100, 200 units that want me to screen out the bad actors. It's a tough job because when you deal with a huge complex and hundreds of people, I'm not screening people out by their color and their age and other characters. What I'm trying to screen out are people that have not learned to put down alcohol, that have not learned to put down drugs. Sometimes I have to distinguish whether or not the person's a presence of mind. Are they mentally healthy enough to maintain themselves in an appropriate manner on that property? There's all kinds of things that come along. And look, that it doesn't matter if it's a Section 8 property or a normal one. People have problems. It's important that we have the right community of people that are operating the right way, that simply want to live life and do things normally. But what's different about me helping these big landlords is you got a hell of a lot better chance of surviving the system with one of my landlords than you would doing it on your picking your different place. And the reason is I'm quite liberal because I do understand the immense amount of problems that come along with trying to even get a place. So there's a lot of things that I educate my landlords on, and I don't deal with slumlords. So that's another thing, when I deal with clients, I will never ever accept or a case where there would be the option of project-based housing. And to be clear about what project-based housing is, that is when the housing authority itself, the same people that talk shit to you on the phone, won't give you any answers, they own the property. And when they own and manage that property, do you expect it to get any worse? You'd be lucky if you don't spend the winter without water. You see what I'm saying? So anytime the housing authority issues the voucher, plus they're your landlord, could you think of it getting any worse? And a lot of you guys have accept that bullshit offer. Look, on an application, never ever, if they offer property, never accept that garbage. Now, let's be clear. Now, in some cases, that's appropriate in good states where things are going well and it's well funded. But don't ever, so I don't put people in project based housing. In fact, everybody that I deal with, I try to find y'all the best areas of town because the thing is, we want to move on with life. This is not a license to treat people worse. If drug dealers, prostitutes, and other thing all want to congregate in one property and have a party, that's their business. They chose to do so. I'm not going to put my clients ever in that situation. And if I'm hired under that pretense and I find out that that's really what you're looking to do, I'll get rid of you and then give you your money back because you have a loose screw. I've saved a lot of people because they've been tricked into a project-based housing. And another thing I'd like to say is this: project-based housing is not the same thing as tenant-based housing. Tenant-based housing is when a private landlord runs it. And there's as many shitbags with that as well, okay? But just to be clear, we're not considering any properties where people going crazy, okay? We're not doing that. Tony Z says, do your best, Jay. Congrats. I appreciate that, Tony Z. And looks like we got a new person in the channel. I am Angel Heart 46. Your name seems familiar. I'm going to need to hire you. The local HA in Madison here are some real jerks. Yeah. You know what? I always end my videos with saying this, and I'm not going to end it just yet, but has anybody ever experienced a housing authority when you call them or you drop by, they want to pray for you and then bring you to lunch and they want to ask you how your day was going? No, that's not what they do. Okay. Like I said, they're condescending the route. And another thing you guys don't understand is, look, in order to be a housing specialist for $97, you can go and get your little certificate. Okay. So I could take a homeless person, okay, off the street. He's got fresh burns on his face with a crack pipe, and I can go get him that certificate and get him a job at the housing authority. He can manage your case. I'm not saying that people that work at the housing authority are stupid. I'm not saying they're ignorant. I'm just saying that you truly don't understand that a lot of these people that work in the housing authority that are managing your case and determining your voucher, that's the same lady that 3 hours later, when you drive through Taco Bell, she's going to be handing you a taco. So don't be shocked when there's attitude and bullshit because you're talking about people that are already disgraceful. All right. I also know there are a lot of good housing authority employees, and a lot of them are in this because they do care, but that's a rare jewel. So let's not be under any delusion. These fucking people care about you whatsoever. And the more y'all call and email these people, begging them for answers how to defeat their system and get more, the more you annoy them and the more they're going to do things that just don't seem right. So discriminatory and predatory behavior behind housing authority is very common, super common. Once Nancy and Lulu in that office say, hey, you know what? I can't stand that bitch. Trust me. You just roll straight down the list. They just lost you. They just lost your phone number. Look, there's not a lot of oversight to this. You guys think that the feds show up over there and audit their records? A lot of these men and women that work in these housing authorities, there's not much oversight. Why do you think the director of most of these housing authorities, when they throw a Christmas party, trust me, there's vouchers hanging all over the tree. The fucking lawn man's got a voucher. The maid's got a voucher. Hell, even the kid that lives down the road in the $1 million house, he got a voucher. But you guys, the mere mortals, no, you're going to have to, well, you'll have to grovel like a dog and then wait 10 years because you're not connected to these people, because you're not their friends, their family, and their political constituents. And God knows you had a moment and said something you shouldn't have on the phone and complain. Then you become an annoyance to them. And I know y'all think this is sensational that I'm saying this, but I can think of 100 or more cases where that's absolutely true. Y'all are under the impression that all these people working there, they have master's degrees and bachelor's degrees. Look, a lot of them barely got the GED. And no offense to anybody that's got a GED, okay? I just want to show you that ignorance and attitude is a lot of what works there, and they truly don't care in a way that you might imagine, because it is what it is. So, moving on. Angel Heart made us several comments. I appreciate that, my friend. Shonda's transforming every day. Hi, Jay. Looking great. Hey, Shonda. I dropped by your channel the other day. You're doing a good job. Glad to see you here. We're just sitting here kicking along and talking about Section 8. I think I probably burned up the subject of Section 8 low-income housing and badly here on YouTube. So I thought I'd add one more video to it. So I'm glad to have Shonda. By the way, guys, if y'all don't know Shonda, she's got a great channel. You'll check her out. She's got a lot of fantastic videos. She's a good personality. She's one of the people that I don't consider crazy that makes videos. So, yeah, y'all check her out. Also, there's another person I'd like to recommend. She's a lady. She's a real estate agent from Detroit. So her name is Monique Burns. She also makes videos similar to mine. And though she does not know it to the degree I do, I think that she gives good, honest advice. And if you live in the tri-state area where Monique Burns is, I would recommend her because she has that connection as both a real estate agent, a broker, and could be quite a lot of assistance to you if you're going to be out in that area. So you don't need to live in the mile long ride or whatever they call it in Detroit. But I'm saying all those areas out there, Monique could be a big benefit to a lot of you guys. A big part of this is understanding how to deal with me as a consultant, but also adding on that extra layer, kind of like icing. Adding on that extra layer and knowing when it's time to get a broker and a real estate agent. A lot of these guys make commissions buying these complexes to bring you in. So we have to utilize other resources. That's the thing. You always want to have the right professionals in your corner when you're doing this. And if you have the presence of mind and when you're doing this, check out reputation. Like for me, I don't mind. I always tell people, look, go into YouTube. And if I'm blowing smoke, then I am. Always check the person's reputation. That's why even on my website, and I'm going to give that to y'all, I wouldn't put my phone number, my address to my home and everything and every private detail about me if I thought I had something to worry about in my reputation. You see my point? People that are out there doing the wrong thing and making videos for nickels and dimes that don't really know much about Section 8, they're not going to put who they are out there. They're certainly not going to put their face and broadcast it on YouTube. So I always say, if you believe that I have something that I can offer you, that I can help you with, that's going to be a benefit, and you're comfortable with the level of my skill, then I would say try it. So now I'm going to give y'all some links. That way y'all can check a few things out. There's nothing wrong with that. So the first one's going to be booking an appointment. It's not for me. It's not for y'all to book an appointment. It's just so if you decide to move forward, you can see pricing and then figure it out and budget for that. I'm not very expensive. Hey, Shonda, I see you responded back, so good. All right, so the first one's booking. You can see pricing, and then the next up is going to be the website. And by the way, guys, I have a very nice website. I did not want my website to have a bunch of rundown houses. Nothing discourages people from wanting to proceed in this market than for me to fill up the website full of nasty looking properties. So you'll notice I do my very best to make things look nice. Look, that doesn't mean we're going to be able to get you into $1 million place. Doesn't mean we're going to get a voucher for $1 million either. But what it means is it's important to me that we all have the right state of mind while trying to work through a case. So here's the website. I'm putting that link now. You can also find these links in the description of the video. Then last, I'm going to give you reviews. And good Lord, I have a lot. And one thing that's interesting about my reviews is these are not choreographed. I don't buy them from China. I don't buy them from somebody on Fiverr and all that. What the thing that's interesting about my reviews, most of them aren't real reviews. And I don't mean as they're fake. I just mean that a lot of people leave reviews asking questions. So that's the difference between people who try to fake their career and then being real, because real reviews tend to be a mixture of all kinds of stuff. And you'll find that most of my reviews are like that. They're not so much a compliment to me. It's more of the more random things that people say. So that's what's fascinating. I think it's about 118. So anyways, here are the reviews. Yeah, I'll take a look. Moving on from that, I think we're going to start to wrap this up. I think we covered a lot. I am excited about the infrastructure plan. I'm excited to work with those of you that really have given up a little bit of hope and would like somebody else to take over for you. I think, in addition to the housing aspects, I also deal with discrimination. Please bear in mind, I am not a licensed attorney, okay? But I do consult with a lot of attorneys in regards to that, because this is a specialty. It's a subsection. And as of present, they don't teach that in law school. So I've spent a good portion of career collecting around 8 terabytes worth of manual data, procedures, operations manual, legislation, federal code, federal data, director's reports, and so on. So it means that I'm fully apprised. I would say that my little library, including digital information, rivals that of even close to HUD. It certainly surpasses any housing authority. And what makes this such a good variety is I'm not just skilled in one little town. I don't have to be a former housing authority employee. By virtue of dealing with hundreds of housing authorities and hearing them reject every different way that I've tried to play this game with them, I have now adapted, and I've had 20 years to adapt to this. So you see the point. Every game they can play, I've seen has already been played. I have a counter for anything they can do conceivably. I've mastered the ability to compel them. I've also mastered many, many other things I'm not going to get into. But there are lots of things. It's like being a really, really good attorney and understanding how to exploit the system to give you what you need. And the interesting thing is I should not technically even exist. And the reason I shouldn't exist is if the system worked correctly, none of us would be here right now at all. There would be no need. Nothing would give me greater honor to shut this down, to thank everybody for the years of service and say we finally have a fair system that is meant for the people, paid for by the people, and that people get, But as present, as it stands, it is not there yet. So that being said, guys, I'm going to look to see if there's any other questions here, and then we're going to start to wrap this up because I think we're at 1 hour and 3 minutes, and my lungs are tired. By the way, I'm going to make a few more videos during Turkey Day. A lot of you are going to be celebrating by yourself. It's an unfortunate consequence of life sometimes. Some of us are old, some of us are young, some of us don't have families, some don't have kids. And so I'm a single guy with a lot of cats, as strangely as that may seem. So I think I might join y'all around Thanksgiving for those of you that are bored, and we'll have a little fun in the channel, okay? Because I don't want anybody to be bored. I don't want anybody to be lonely. And I certainly don't want anybody to sit there in despair because they're afraid of their housing situation. So I'm going to try to make, the Turkey Day, maybe a Turkey Day video. We'll see what happens, but I don't want anybody to feel alone or, in despair. That does bother me. So, Sean is transforming every day says they are a lot of reviews, but I review it here. Jay is the real deal. Thank you, Chandra. I appreciate that. God knows I've been talking for 7 years now, girl. So, and because you do a lot of good material as well. So. It's not often I get other YouTube celebrities here, so I always appreciate the visit. Mr. Bays, welcome to the channel. If y'all don't know Roland, he's a good guy. Working off and on his case, and so anyways, I just want to give him a shout out. CF, welcome back to the channel. And CF says that's sweet. You know what, guys? One of the reasons I sometimes feel like I have health problems because I'm one of those people that internalizes other people's pain. In other words, I actually do really feel badly when I hear stories about people being desperate and not having money and other things. It weighs on me very heavily. I know there are people that by design are psychopaths that don't care about others. And so that's another reason why it makes me a bit effective is because I actually do get quite emotional about a lot of your cases. So there's two sides of me. I love to win. I love that bittersweet of just winning and victory. But I also have great concern over a lot of people, especially when I talk to my elderly people and moms with disabled children has a very, very big impact, big impact. So I do actually in some ways kind of feel the pain and I do worry about you guys at night. So if you think I'm going to just go watch Netflix and not be really worried when I hear you're sleeping in a car or something, I actually do worry about that. So maybe that's bad for me, but that's just the way God designed me. So moving on. CF says, "Well, I look forward to it. I am going to be alone for Thanksgiving." Well, you know what, guys? I'm going to be alone for Thanksgiving too, just me and my 22 cats, and I guess we'll celebrate together. But don't call that damn phone for a consult, okay? During Turkey Day, because I will curse over the turkey. So we're not doing that. So we'll make a video and have a little bit of fun for Thanksgiving for those of you that are spending time alone. There's nothing wrong with being alone, but I'd prefer not to have people sad on Thanksgiving because it's a time that we need to reflect on the 2021. We need to reflect on the trials and tribulations. We just went through one of the roughest things this nation has seen in a long time, this pandemic. There was a lot of life lost. Even bigger than the life loss, over 40 million people lost their homes. And we're not talking about 40 low income people that live in the hood. We're talking about 40 million Americans that have lost everything and they truly have nothing. And these are life saving times. So Thanksgiving is not about religion and politics. It's about reflecting on that. Have I been good? Do I appreciate the friends, the family, and the people that are concerned about me? That's the thing. Thanksgiving is involved in something much different. It's the quality, friendships, the family, and so on. And though I don't have much of that, I guess I'll be enjoying that with y'all as a family, and I'm okay with that. I'm grown now. I'm not a child. I don't have to be at grandma's dinner table, but I'll try to enjoy it with y'all guys. So that being said, I've rambled enough, guys. We've definitely gone way off the deep end again, as usual, putting my business out on the street. Melanie Malone says, my question not. All right. Sean Williams, hi, new to this channel from Georgia. Hey, welcome from Georgia. Hey, you know what? I used to live close by Stone Mountain out in Augusta. So, yeah, I like Georgia. Georgia's a cool place. I like Atlanta. Pretty cool. I considered moving out there again, but property price is a little too tight. Melanie, I don't know. Just to be clear, Melanie, my hands are free of a mouse, so I'm not blocking you or anything. Sometimes YouTube's algorithm doesn't give them any excuses. It will banish comments and different things, so it's not me. And I do see that comment, Melanie, so I just want to let you know it's not anything that I've done. Who knows? It might pop up again. So, all right, guys, I really got to go. It's been an hour and I'm tired. So we'll do this again in a couple of days and we'll do another live. And I think next time we'll do a Q&A and then we're going to discuss what's going to be changing for 2022 and how we can effectively start really homing in on getting these vouchers, getting the housing, and trying to address all the sticky situations that we've been dealing with. Also reviewing all the housing authorities that should be reopening with new funding. We're reaching that point where it's hard during the holidays, but the minute the holidays are over, man, we gotta step on the gas and get out there because those who are first are going to receive first. Okay. All right, it's been fantastic and a pleasure seeing everybody. Thank you all that are new to the channel. Thank you for so many people joining us today. I think y'all probably a lot of you are on vacation. And thank you, Chandra, for showing up at the channel today. I appreciate that. I think I'll pop in on one of your videos as well. All right, y'all have a great night. It's been fun. And happy Thanksgiving until I see y'all again. All right, bye-bye.